What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Kevin Hoop Show. If you guys are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I want to give a quick shout out to my watch party I'm going to be doing tomorrow at 4 o'clock p.m. right here on this channel. We're going to be watching UFC 286, Usman versus Edwards, grade A bangers. Without further ado, though, let's get into this official prediction for Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman, and where I'm really coming from when I actually make my official decision. Might as well just spoil it now. I'm going Kamaru Usman, but the decision was not as easy as some people might think. But what I'm really going off of is their first two fights, and kind of looking at the progression of each fighter through their first fight, second fight, and the fights in between. Going all the way back to their very first fight on an actual fight night. It wasn't even a pay-per-view, which obviously back when these guys fought the first time, they weren't the biggest names, but obviously right now, they're probably the two biggest names in the UFC 100% this week, but in general. So I really do think that these guys have paved their way and made a name for themselves in the UFC. What I really want to talk about this first fight is the significant strikes landed and really who won the striking battle on the feet, and who won the fight overall. Obviously Usman won the fight, but in my opinion, I think that Leon Edwards won the striking on the feet, and Usman really took the fight to the ground a lot. He had 6 takedowns. He had 126 total strikes, which was pretty good. Leon Edwards only had 36, and some people might be like, how the fuck are you going with Leon Edwards winning on the feet when Usman had that many strikes compared to him? But what I really want to bring people's attention to is the position where these strikes were landed. Usman only had 11 strikes landed on the feet, and Leon Edwards had 17. And that, to me, right there, is him winning the fight on the feet, in my opinion, but didn't win the fight overall. In my opinion, Kamaru Usman won overall, and that was a fair decision, but where he really landed a lot of strikes was on the ground. He had 25 significant strikes on the ground, and I really think that that is what won him the fight, along with the ground control in general. Now, moving on to where things get really fucking interesting. We're talking about the second fight between these two. Kamaru Usman has now won the belt. He's now defending the belt against the #1 contender in Leon Edwards. I really think the second one was definitely exciting, especially in that 5th round. But maybe some people who aren't the biggest of fight fans may have thought when Kamaru Usman started taking Leon Edwards to the ground that it wasn't as entertaining. But if you actually pay attention and, know grappling and know MMA a little bit, Kamaru Usman was absolutely demolishing Leon Edwards for the 3 rounds in the middle. Leon Edwards kind of had a good first round and actually ended up scoring a takedown on him. But either way, I think that, Leon Edwards really was not doing too well after that first round compared to Kamaru Usman. Now, just to throw the stats out there, the total strikes landed by Usman was 189, and Leon Edwards landed 64. Now, if we're talking significant strikes, Usman landed 83, Edwards landed 55. Sorry about that. Now, when we are talking about what position they were in when they scored them, Usman had 46 significant strikes from the distance on the feet, and Leon Edwards had 42. Now, for those of you that already forgot what I said about the first fight, Leon Edwards won the exchange on the feet. In this fight, Usman actually landed more on the feet than Leon Edwards. And I think that right there is a humongous sign that not only did Usman improve his game on his feet, but he's constantly improving his game overall as an MMA fighter. Now, Usman landed 22 on the ground as well, not as much as he did in that first fight, but still a good amount of significant strikes, especially when you're landing more on the feet compared to your first fight. Leon Edwards only had 6 on the ground, and, just overall, Usman, in my opinion, really dominated this fight, other than that 1st and 5th round, obviously, where he got knocked the fuck out. Now, I guarantee you Usman will not be leaning in the way that he was in that second fight. Usman needs to not start leaning in, and Leon Edwards needs to work on his takedown defense. A real big reason why I'm leaning towards Kamaru Usman for this fight is Leon Edwards knew what to expect in this second fight. Again, I read off the stats. Usman had 6 takedowns in that first fight. And what did Usman do in the second fight? The same exact damn thing. And Leon Edwards did not have an answer for it. So in my opinion, Leon Edwards just did not improve as much leading up to this second fight. And if I'm gonna have to put my money on it, I'm definitely gonna go on the person that looks like they're improving the most. And in my opinion, that is Kamaru Usman all day long. Now, one thing that I really like to see from Leon Edwards is the fact that he actually, pushes himself to limits that he has not reached or may have not reached before. And I think that is exactly what we saw in round 5. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a dangerous thing. Usman got caught slipping, and Leon Edwards took full advantage of that, and both of their lives changed tremendously off of one person's decision. I didn't have that much respect, quote unquote, for Leon Edwards leading up to the second fight. I didn't know much about him, so I just really didn't have much to go off of. I saw he fought Nate Diaz. That gave me some respect for sure, but I was just more of a fan of Kamaru Usman, because when I first watched Kamaru Usman, I was in the same boat as this second fight. I wasn't the biggest fan of Kamaru Usman when I first saw him fight Tyron Woodley for the belt. That was personally my first time watching Kamaru Usman, and I had already been a pretty big fan of Tyron Woodley. Once Kamaru Usman won that fight and won the belt off of Woodley, I became a huge Kamaru Usman fan. Now, I don't want to sound like whoever wins the belt, that's who I'm a fan of, but I do think that there is some respect earned after that. Not only did he, do as good as Tyron Woodley, but in my opinion, did a lot of things better than Tyron Woodley in this welterweight division, especially, and kind of has a John Jones-esque way in his fights of complete domination. And I'm a big fan of any fighter that is completely dominating the fight in general. Now, Leon Edwards didn't necessarily dominate the fight in general. What he showed to me in this fight was that he had grit and that he was willing to push himself past the lengths that he is known to push himself to. And that, to me, earns all the respect, in my opinion. I think Leon Edwards is definitely, that Rocky. He has that Rocky type of mentality, and I think that's a wonderful and on-point nickname for him. Now, to get in some of the juicy stuff, to get in some of this drama that's going on in these press conferences, obviously Usman was caught slipping, and that was brought up in the press conference. Leon Edwards was trash-talking him. I think that there is some drama between these two, especially whether Kamaru Usman wants to admit it or not. I do think he was affected a little bit by the belt being taken from him in the way and fashion that it was. He was this close of cementing himself as the GOAT in the welterweight division, or at least close to it. One mistake blew that all up in the air. I really do think that if Usman doesn't have his head straight for this fight, we could see a dominant Leon Edwards on the feet. Now, obviously, Leon Edwards has that mentality. He has that strength. I do believe he has the capability of dominating the fight. It really all just depends on how Kamaru Usman comes out with his whole mentality. Because in my opinion, Leon Edwards' mentality, that shit ain't getting shaken. Just no possibility in it. That dude is showing up ready to fight and ready to take on one of the best that's ever done it in the welterweight division. I really do think that he has a full 49% chance of winning, and Kamaru Usman has a 50% chance of winning. That's kind of where I'm at, Friday night right before the fight happens. Now, for some of you that don't know Leon Edwards' reputation and how much of a savage he really is, he's fought guys like Cowboy Cerrone, RDA, Nate Diaz. The list goes on. And in my opinion, a really good test for him was Belal Muhammad, and if that fight actually transpired, we may have not even seen Leon Edwards in this situation, but that's how the ball rolls, and that's what we got. So, it happens with eye pokes, and the fight couldn't continue. That's what happened with the Belal Muhammad fight. It is what it is, but I do think that there's been plenty of other opponents, even like Gunnar Nelson, who he's faced, who has really good grappling. I think that shows that Leon Edwards has the capability of keeping the fight on the feet, or at least having that good takedown defense. It's just really, when is he going to show it against Kamaru Usman? Now, for those of you that don't know much about Kamaru Usman's reputation, if you live under a fucking rock, he's beat Tyron Woodley, he's beat Colby Covington twice, he's beat Jorge Masvidal. The list goes on and on and on, and in my opinion, he's done nothing but defend this belt as a champion, and former champion, I should say. But Leon Edwards has the capability of doing that same exact thing this Saturday night. He has a chance to prove all the doubters and all the haters who say that it was a fluke wrong. And I 100% am down with Leon Edwards taking the win. I'm not going to be upset or anything. If anything, I'll be happy for him that he's finally coming into his own and really excelling at the sport of MMA and mixed martial arts in general. And not to throw him under the bus, but you can't forget about the win over Gilbert Burns because, you know, just fighting Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington twice isn't really much, but the title defense against Gilbert Burns, against that high-level jiu-jitsu type of guy, is really good. And if you really want to kind of, you know, see how Kamaru Usman does against a good striker, look at the Jorge Masvidal fights. He handled Jorge Masvidal, who's known for his striking, pretty well. And in my opinion, that can go a long way going into this Leon Edwards fight for the third time. Now, I've already put my money where my mouth is. Here is the bet right here. We've got about $49, $50. I didn't feel like putting $1 in my DraftKings account, but we've got $50 riding on Kamaru Usman tonight, technically tomorrow, but either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed this fight. Let me know who you think is going to win in the comments, whether it's Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards. The Justin Gaethje fight's going to be another great one. Marvin Vettori's fighting, Gunnar Nelson's fighting. Let me know in the comments who you're most excited for, who you think is going to be taking the W, and overall it's just going to be a good night. And if you guys haven't already heard already, this Saturday night at 4:00 p.m., we are going live and doing a watch party watching UFC 286. So come over, hang out. The main card doesn't start till 5, but we're going to start at 4:00 and try and watch some of the prelims. So feel free, come by. We're going to have beer. We're going to have titties. We're going to have laughs. It's going to be a great fucking time, and I hope you guys come by. Either way, with that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, and I will see you guys tomorrow.